You know what time it is. It's tea time, ladies and gentlemen.
Tea time!
Tea, capital T.
What are we drinking? It looks old.
We are drinking some tea from 1998, Menghai Tea Factory, 858 tea. What were you doing in 1998, Denny? While the hardworking people of China were making this tea.
What was I doing in 1998? I was probably eating like bad sandwich PB&Js. Was I reading at that point? Yes.
Were you drinking your mom's slap song?
Probably, maybe at that. Yeah, maybe, yeah. I might have been like in a tent reading the classic banger, Jeremy Thatcher and the Dragon Hatcher. Check that out. That's a big one. Big time.
Yeah.
Big time if true. First book that I read where I cried.
There you go.
I was in a tent, and they had to say goodbye to the dragon, bro. And I just lost it, man.
You just hooked a whole new generation of 10-year-olds on
Big.
I don't even know what.
Big time. Check them out.
Yeah, so we are drinking some tea from 1998.
Cool.
Menghai Tea Factory. It's the 8582 recipe. This one is from Tim and Mike, so thank you guys very much again. It's a treat to try this. I have not had this yet, so I am quite looking to enjoy it. Definitely one of those teas that you would, kind of set aside the session and have it with a tea friend.
Yeah. Smells old.
I hope so, yeah.
Well, it might be sweet. We'll see.
Yeah. So it was from Hoda. Hoda is based in Houston, Texas. I'm sure they didn't buy this tea in 1988, so it probably has a complicated storage history that we don't fully know, but It's probably spent some time in Texas.
Yep.
25 years old now, so yeah, excited to try this.
Just like my ex-wife.
He does not have an ex-wife.
Not yet.
Whoa. Joke. Okay. Oh.
Hello.
Low cloggage. That's alright. Just let that go.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so, I don't know. Excited to have this tea. The 85 means that the recipe was developed in 1985. The second 8 in this represents the leaf grade, not the quality, but the size. So 8 would be on the larger end of things, and 2 is for Menghai Tea Factory.
There you go. Now you know. Beautiful red liqueur. Much darker than the rinse.
Indeed.
Cool.
Yeah. Enjoy.
Cheerio.
Cheerio. All the way down the hatch.
Down the hatch. Like to start a little fruity.
Yeah. It's still very hot, but you can tell that the tea, of course, is very earthy.
Yep. Yeah, I'm trying to place the fruit. A little brown sugary kind of thing. A little plummy. A little raspberry in there. Tell it's gonna be a little bitter still.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. So
We'll see how it goes.
yeah, not
It's pretty old for
a little dank, but
Yeah,
maybe
I'm
not as dank
surprised.
as you'd expect. Yeah.
Yeah, frankly. I mean, how old? Considering how old this is, it tastes younger than the age for me.
Yeah, which might speak more towards the storage than anything. This is kind of that era where you would honestly expect most of these teas to have undergone a little bit of like more dank or traditional storage, just because that was the norm. But it's also an era where dry storage had started to become a thing. So it is possible that a tea could have a different trajectory if it was stored more dryly.
Yeah. Really beautiful liqueur.
Take a smell.
Yeah. can smell certain parts of the age. Does not have as much of that vegetable patch kind of a thing. Doesn't really have the pencil shavings kind of vibe that sometimes these can develop.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Definitely woody though.
Yeah.
Almost like it's not a pine wood. It's like a rosewood or something like that. And it's something just a little different as far as those woody characteristics.
Before the show, we actually have wood lollipops that we just suck on to get a sense of our flavor. We share them. But we flip the sides.
Yeah. And, Denny makes sure he doesn't smoke a cigar, at least not within, 20 seconds.
7 to 8 seconds before doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a really hard restriction for him.
Yeah, it's tough. God, cigars are so fucking gross, dude. You ever smoked cigars? They're disgusting.
I have.
I don't get it.
Cheerio.
Weird to say it's kind of light. Sweet.
Is this going to be the impression we get of both of these teas today? Is that they're surprisingly more subtle than you'd expect?
Yeah, maybe it was...
It's not as rich and creamy as you'd expect. And I think that's partly because of the storage, which is definitely a little drier than I would have thought. Interestingly, nose-wise, it's starting to kind of enter more of that earthy zone, but not really coming through on the cup. So let's reboil this. Let's give it a nice push and see what we're getting. But it is still bitter too, so kind of interesting.
It is interesting. Yeah, it makes me wonder what the base material was like. It had to have been kind of an ass kicker, and yet it's not. It's kind of subtle. I don't know. It confused me.
Yeah. I mean, this recipe does not have the reputation of being as much of an ass kicker as others. That's not to say that it wasn't bitter, but yeah, I mean, certainly interesting.
Yeah. Anyway. If I was blind tasting this, I would not guess that this is more than 10 years old.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think so. I'm not tasting that.
Okay. I get a fair bit of woody, earthy notes this now, so
yeah.
I would put it in 15 to 20 personally, but 25, I mean, I agree. It doesn't taste quite as traditionally stored as you would expect some of the others.
The color
and the colors. Look how hard I brewed that. I mean, I reboiled the water, pushed it for a bit, and the color is nice, but it's not dark.
Yeah, it's interesting. And in terms of the ratio and stuff, what are you using here, James, roughly?
I suppose that could have an impact. I'm using 5.3 grams, which is all the sample I have, and this pot is 95 milliliters or so. So it's a little lighter on the ratio than normal, but honestly, we're talking 10% difference.
Yeah, and the typical ratio on TDB, I think, is, I don't want to say heavy-handed, but strong.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's interesting. Residual sweetness. I'm still kind of confused. Let's keep going. This is gonna be hot. Salute.
Cheers.
This is one of those teas that I'm just confused by, dude. I'm it's hard to place. Okay, so I'm enjoying it. I should say that. But it's kind of challenging. What is it tasting like to me? It's got a little bit of a fruity thing to it. It's got a little bit of an earthy thing to it. It's got that woody thing to it.
Yeah. For me, the dominant flavor is definitely the woody aspects of it. The fruit is, for me, a little bit more in the background. The wood is not as heavy, earthy, kind of as you could be, but it does have a bit of that, I would say.
Okay. Very small amount of brown sugar sweetness.
Yeah. The sweet is fairly sweet, actually.
Yeah.
The steep is fairly sweet.
That residual bitterness, not intense, just there. Interesting. I'm a little stumped. Frankly, that's kind of a good thing. I don't know. It's if you only watch movies with good endings, it's kind of boring. Not that this is a bad ending, bad analogy, but you need to have a little bit of diversity, and I feel like
Do you mean happy endings, or do you mean good endings?
Yes, sorry, happy endings.
I prefer mine with bad endings, just like straight bad.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes, happy endings versus unhappy endings, excuse me. And yeah, like this, I'm puzzled by this tea. It's like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. You have to like watch it. You like take a break for 15 minutes and then come right back to it. Watch it again.
Yeah, think about it.
It's definitely a think about it tea.
Yeah. Thankfully, Jim Carrey, I don't think is going to materialize in this one.
He might.
You never know.
Who knows? Jim Carrey. I bet Jim Carrey would like drinking tea. Isn't he kind of woo-woo now?
I don't know.
I think woo-woo people like tea. Shout out if you're woo-woo.
Yeah, and subscribe.
Yeah.
And get your cat to subscribe. Woo-woo people also tend to have cats.
Okay, yeah.
Just letting you know.
Yeah, have your cat's third eye chakra subscribe to our YouTube channel, please.
Yeah. Namaste.
Yeah.
Now we just mocked them. So I probably lost.
Now we just mocked them? I think people have... We're a little too late for that, bro. God.
My bad.
Yeah.
Namaste.
Yeah. Peace be with you. Oh, gosh, yeah.
Praise
close
be
one. Getting sweeter? This is confusing.
Yeah, it just doesn't quite fit naturally into kind of the boxes of what you'd expect the tea raw pu'erh archetypes to be.
I totally agree.
It's not quite at the traditionally stored root, but it's also kind of a little more aged beyond the semi-aged root for me at least. So, yeah, it just kind of treads that line.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting. It's almost a tea that could maybe use another decade of aging, oddly enough, which is not something I expected to say coming into this episode.
But it's not like it's acrid or even too bitter. It's just, it's an interesting tea.
I think it might just help to kind of define what this is as a tea a bit better.
Right.
Just because it sort of is tweening a bunch of lines right now.
Yeah. Like, so like an Ibu has this like saccharine sweetness, like someone added sugar to it, you know? This isn't that, but it's sweet. It's more of a aged fermented, almost like a brandy, earthy, hearty kind of fruit sweetness.
I kind of think I would have preferred this tea if it was stored just in Taiwan for a bit longer. I think that would have been a lot easier to understand as far as like where the tea is at. But.
And to explain that, James, because it's been stored in a really wet place and then in Texas in a really dry place, what do you mean by...
Yeah, I mean, Texas, fairly wet by U.S. standards, but dry
Fair.
compared to Taiwan.
Yeah.
Just because, I don't know, part of it is I'm certainly more familiar with tea stored in Taiwan for kind of that time period.
Uh-huh.
But if this is kind of like, this tea, I mean, I'm just speculating at this point, might have been stored for 5 or 6 years in Taiwan. Hoda usually goes to Taiwan for their tea, and then stored in Texas for 20 years. I don't know, it's just like, I'm not used to that trajectory at all.
Right.
Not to say it's bad per se, but it might result in tea that for me is drinkable. You need a little bit longer in the time scale rather than just being like a straight, like 15 years of Taiwan or 25 years of Taiwan, we're good to go.
Right. And the reason, the time scaling would be because the wetter environment, the more humid environment is going to help age the tea more quickly. All of the little critters in there, microbes, bacterium.
Yeah, and then moving it to Houston would slow it down a bit.
Yep.
And then moving it to Seattle or somewhere like that would slow it down even more.
Yeah. Nice and red.
Yeah, you can tell this tea is probably going to go for a bit.
This is one of those weird teener teas where, frankly, it's hard to even place this. Hard to place it inside of a category. For me, instead of a straightforward kind of characteristics of palate or taste. Just, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mom test, ultralight?
Nope.
Okay, there you go.
There you go.
Costco sample bar? Someone like just pouring out things of this next to a bunch of crackers?
Yeah.
No.
Not popular.
Yeah.
You guys getting a pay cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, interesting. Quite a strong residual flavor. Here we go. Salute. Cheers.
Yeah, cheerio.
now it's like really sweet. I am so confused. Very dynamic.
Now it's like more resinous for me too. It's like kind of got this interesting mineral element going on now.
Definitely a teener's tea. I mean, this has been a puzzle and one that has been changing quite a bit. So definitely kind of a fun, interesting, and different tea. Can people pick this up?
They could. My guess is it's sold out now. But I think it was probably for sale like maybe a year ago. You could Google it. 1998 Menghai Tea Factory. But it's pretty easy to
Google.
search for.
Yeah.
You can even
Storage
send
might
them
be variable depending where you get it.
And they may have more cakes, so you can send them an email and ask, and maybe they'll release some. I don't know. I also don't know what the cost is. My guess is something of this age and pedigree would be a bit pricey, but
yeah.
I don't know for sure. Definitely
a kind of you've been around the block a few times tea, in my opinion.
Yeah, terrible intro Pu'erh.
Yeah, not descriptive of the category. Challenging and different. Enjoyable. I don't think we've said that enough. Just because I'm sitting here being like, huh. No, it tastes great. It's just confusing in the best way. Try to check out more weird teas like this.
Yeah.
Pick up some old stuff. Pick up some young stuff. Thank you to Tim and
Mike.
And what else are we supposed to do in this thing?
You can also check out Hoda. They've had a number of teas throughout the years. They used to be very active. Now it's kind of a little bit less so, but they still, I believe, still sell a bunch of raw Pu'erhs. So
HOUDE.
Yep. Hoda Asian Art is what they go by. So
yum. Check them out. TDB.org for more stuff of the tea variety. Burp. T. We'll see you guys next time.